actual initiation of transmission was on the Laylatul Qadr. Another verse, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةٍ مُبَارَكَةٍ. We send it down on a blessed night. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ, and it is described somewhere else in another surah that it is a blessed night. And the month of Ramadan, the whole month is taking the blessing from that particular night when the Quran transmission was initiated. So that's why the month of Ramadan is a blessed month. It is from one night the blessing started and spread over the month. So anyone who is exposing himself to that blessing of the month of Ramadan will be blessed in this month as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described for us that the good deeds are multiplied, that the one good deed is multiplied 10 times up to 700 times, except إلا الصوم فإنه لي. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. كل عمل ابن آدم يضاعف 10 الحسنة ب10 أمثالها إلى 700 ضعف إلا الصوم فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به. All the good deeds of the son of Adam are multiplied 10 times up to 700 times, except fasting. It is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, it is for me, for Allah, and I am giving the reward for it. So how much? Definitely it will be more than the 700 times. The normal good deeds will be up to 700 times. However, Ramadan is a special one, that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chosen this one, and He will reward for it. So it is a good opportunity. In fact, maybe we are missing something, especially in this year. We don't, normally we start Taraweeh the night before Ramadan. We don't have that. However, our homes, وَجَعَلُوا بِيُوتَكُمْ قِبْلَةً, is what our Prophet Musa alayhi salam and his brother, he was ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to turn their homes as qibla, a place for our direction for prayer. For us, in this social distancing and this kind of isolation, we can do our prayers at home. And in fact, Taraweeh itself, and most of the people will be worried about Taraweeh, although Taraweeh is not more important than any of the farz. So the fard itself is more important than Taraweeh. We pray Jum'ah, which is more important than all of these, of Taraweeh. We pray Jum'ah at home, with the intention that we are doing that a substitute for the congregation in the mosque. And we hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us the reward, the complete reward for that. For Taraweeh, we're not missing, in fact, a lot. I mean, Taraweeh is not essentially to be in the mosque. It's not necessarily that it should be in the mosque. And Prophet ﷺ told us that the best place for the nafil prayer is at home. So the jama'ah is for farz, but for nafil it is more for home. لا تجعلوا بيوتكم قبورا. Don't leave your homes like graveyards. So maybe for some people it is difficult to forget about the habit that they have to go to the mosque. Even sometimes they sacrifice the fard and join the Taraweeh later. But this habit is not the best. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing us back to the right practice. Anyway, sometimes in Jama'ah, or Taraweeh in Jama'ah, will give a kind of atmosphere that will encourage some people to be enrolled in Taraweeh. Maybe for them it will be better than at home. But anyway, we are not losing the opportunity to do Jama'ah at home as well. Anyone having a family at home can make Jama'ah and Taraweeh. By the way, it's not essentially that people should recite the whole Quran in Taraweeh. The Prophet ﷺ used to do Qiyam the whole night with just one verse from the Quran, repeating the same verse. So it is not a matter of a quantitative amount, how much we recite and how beautiful the voice of the Imam and so on. It is what is in the heart. إن الله لا ينظر إلى صوركم وأشكالكم ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم. The appearances is something that we inherited, a kind of neglecting the essence and following superficial things. So the appearances, we should, I mean, at least in this year, we should start thinking about what is the basics, what is the basics of Islam, how to come back to the roots of Islam. So this month is a blessed month, and we need to utilize every minute of this month. The reward is a blessed month. The reward is multiplied. Just to have an example of one particular night. That one night, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, is worth more than 1,000 months. One night is worth more than 1,000 months. 1,000 months means a long life of a human being, over 8 years, 84 or something, 4 years. So it is a full long life of a human being. If we got that night with sincere devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we are made up in the best way. So we try our best to grasp these opportunities in the month of Ramadan. Reciting the Quran is one of the things that we should always care about. If we think about the month of Ramadan, the blessing of this month is coming from the transmission of the Quran. The blessing of the night of Qadr is taken from the blessing
الصوت راح ولا؟
نعم راح الصوت.
أحمد
شيخ محسن سمعني؟
نعم أسمعك يا أخي.
الأخوة الآخرين سامعين؟
الله المستعان.
الله المستعان. 3 people only live. دكتور سعد، أنا حتصل بأبو هشام هسه. شو شكله 3 people went offline.
Yeah, I fear there is some people in mute, yeah, but the speaker is his voice is gone. Yeah.
And Dr. Saad, the admin, is gone as well. I'll call Dr. Ahmed. I'll call him now.
الله المستعان.
الله المستعان إقبال. I'll call him now, inshallah.
الله المستعان.
Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام.
What happened?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
We lost your, I mean, the sound, your sound.
Oh, yes, you lost the sound.
No.
Sound and movement.
تفضل.
Okay. No, I thought the internet connection was lost.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
تفضل أبو هشام كمل. There was a technical issue.
Is it from my side or from your side?
Not sure, because 2 other members, they have been lost as well. Could be your
So it must be from somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought it's from my side. I checked the router. It was okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Quran and the taqwa, and how to benefit from the month of Ramadan to achieve the taqwa. That is the objective of the month of Ramadan. And in fact, it is the objective of all worships. of all types of worship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made, the final objective is to achieve taqwa. يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. So the objective of all worship is to achieve that taqwa. What is that taqwa? Is the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our minds and in our life. So whatever we want to do is to think about the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not living outside the domain of Allah's control. We are always under the control and surveillance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the taqwa. Whatever we want to do, we think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching, is observing us. Shall we do this, or Allah will not be happy with it? Before doing, not after. So this is taqwa. So this is what we want to achieve. Standing in Taraweeh, reciting or listening to the recitation of the Quran is very good practice. However, what is more important is to contemplate and think about what we are reciting. This is the revelation that made the whole month of Ramadan a blessing. What is there? What's the secret of this revelation that we are reciting? And this is what we need to develop in our life. That we read the Quran and ponder and reflect and contemplate about the meaning of the words and the verses that we recite. It's not just a matter of tape recorder or that Quran. أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها. Do they not ponder and reflect on the Quran, or are there locks on the hearts? So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala equates the one who just read the Quran for the sake of reading and the one who reads the Quran for the sake of contemplation and pondering and thinking about it. Like the one who has open heart, as opposed to the one who has a heart which is locked. So this is the point that I wanted, in fact, to give in my short lecture, talk, that we focus on the Quran. And I am very impressed that you will finish reciting the Quran in the month of Ramadan, and you have everyday session starting half an hour, then you continue the juz' in your time, which is very good. However, what is more important beside that is good. I mean, this is a good starting point, reading the Quran, reading it in the good way. الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يتلونه حق تلاوته أولئك يؤمنون به. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling those who are given the book, they recite it the right way. And those who do that, they believe in it. So yes, reciting the Quran correctly and in a good way is perfect, is good. However, what is more important is how to comprehend the Quran. Read not in our tongue, but read in our brains and our hearts. The Quran is coming from our inner feelings, from our hearts, rather than from our tongue. And this is what will make a lot of difference. Understanding and living the meanings of the Quran is different than just living the words and listening to the words of the Quran. I think the time is approaching. Do you want to continue or to have 10 minutes for questions after that?
Well, yes, fine. It's fine. If anyone has questions, it's fine. Otherwise, you can continue, inshallah, for
Okay, so I will pause here and see if there are questions.
Any question, brother?
Just a question. When reading the Quran, do you need to recite it loudly all the time, or like the way we kind of trying to finish the Quran during the month of Ramadan? Sometimes you just go and start reading in your mind. do you need to really recite it loudly to get the benefit or the reward of it, or you can just read it in your mind?
When you mean at home or where?
At home, not at home, not at home. Like for example, trying to read every day one juz or part.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just go through and just you read without reciting, you know?
No, I think ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. I mean, you need to recite it in the proper way.
Loudly, or can you read in your mind?
I mean, you don't need to your neighbors to listen to you, but I mean, yes, I mean, you use your tongue, move your tongue with it, and that's it. You don't need to make it loud that somebody else will hear you. But you are talking. I mean, you are speaking.
Yeah, no, but my question, can you still read it in your mind?
It is better to use your senses, your tongue.
Tongue, okay.
And from my experience, I feel it different. When I just look at it, it's different than when I recite it. Because you get more practice to your tongue that you can pronounce the letters in a better way.
No. Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair.
وجزاكم.
طيب Dr. Ahmed, another question is, ايش السبب, or what's the reason behind people like in Ramadan you see the mosque full of people, then once Ramadan finish you don't see any of them?
See, I mean, this year not see them.
Yeah, I know, just in general, yeah, in general. So is it because of al-hadith قبلت الشياطين, or is it people they value the month of Ramadan? Go away, please.
Although I would go to in a different way, in fact. I mean, yes, I mean, this hadith is fine. I mean, the hadith is right and correct. Maybe the inhibition is less in the month of Ramadan when shayateen are chained and people are free from the capture of shaitan. They can go to the mosques. However, this could be a reason. However, if you consider the situation of Muslims in general, they are doing the opposite of the hadith. The hadith is telling us that the best of the deeds are those that continue, although they are little. I mean, if you have something little and continuous, it's better than you have something big and stop. People are doing the opposite. I mean, the 5 prayers, they wouldn't go to the mosques. They don't bother to go to the mosque for the fard prayer, for the 5 prayers a day. They will go for Eid prayer, because it is once a year, more than all of these. Eid prayer will go more than Friday prayer. They will go more than the other fard prayer, because it is once and that's it. For Taraweeh, because it is happening in 1 month, let's go. And there are many hadiths that encourage people to go as well. من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. We stand in prayer in Ramadan out of faith and considering this for the sake of Allah, then all his sins will be waived. The same من صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. So the people will consider this, okay, I did a lot of sins, I go for Ramadan, do my best, so all my sins will be removed. I mean, this is good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us opportunities to do that. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. So I don't say that people should not utilize every situation. Yes, do. Anyone should not sacrifice a minute of the month of Ramadan. Do your best. However, the Ramadan should give us something after Ramadan. It is not just we do within a frame of 1 month. If these deeds are not continuing after the month of Ramadan, then we did not achieve what is required from the month of Ramadan. Not tattaqun in Ramadan, but tattaqun in general. If Allah is present only in the month of Ramadan, then it's not present in our life after that, then we haven't achieved the taqwa. So people should, Allah is giving us these opportunities to practice and to come out as better people, not just
Jazakallah khair.
جزاك الله خير أول شيء.
rely this will experience. Jazakum.
جزاك الله خير.
Jazakumullah.
Any question, brother?
Any questions?
No, Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu fikum, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. الله يكرمك. أخونا الدكتور رضوان في أي question؟ أخونا أبو هشام.
تقبل الله.
الله يكرمك. منور الله.
الله يحفظكم. الله يحفظك.
جزاك الله خير. سلامات الله.
حياكم
جزاك
الله.
الله خير أستاذنا الكريم، الله يبارك فيك رب.
هو الوقت انتهى بالنسبة لي ولا في باقي وقت؟
نعم، لو تحب كمان 5 دقائق تفضل إن شاء الله.
خلاص إن شاء الله.
أيوه. عشان
نعم.
إخواننا
هو في يعني بالنسبة للصيام أو بالنسبة لشهر رمضان in general، يعني بالنسبة للصيام والقيام وكل الأعمال اللي تعرف الناس على أنهم يؤدوها في شهر رمضان، يعني لازم أيضا we should consider that the worship in Ramadan should have effect in our life. It is not just a matter that we deliver something and that's it. The reward is gained out of that. The Prophet ﷺ is telling us, رب صائم ليس له من صيامه إلا الجوع والعطش. You find some people, they may not get out of their fasting other than hunger and thirst. ورب قائم ليس له من قيامه إلا السهر. And you will find people that will gain nothing of their qiyam more than just sleepless nights. So it is not just a format, a form, and a package of things that we just deliver and finish. If it is not gushing from our hearts, then the value will diminish. It is not just something outward behavior and some traditions that we inherited from our ancestors, that we do it, deliver it, that's it, and the reward is guaranteed. It is something that will be driven by the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do everything with thinking. To whom are we doing? We are fasting to Allah. And the fasting itself is not just a matter of abstaining from food and drink and desires. It is more than that. كان الصوم أحدكم فلا يرفث ولا يصخب وإن سابه أحد أو قاتله فليقل إني صائم. So the fasting should appear in our behavior as well. If it is the day of our fasting, we should not use obscene language. We should not use bad words. Should not quarrel and shout. And if somebody is rivaling you or trying to fight with you, just say, I am fasting. Because this is fasting, the meaning of fasting. I mean, abstaining from food and drink is just to help us to control our behavior. The Prophet ﷺ said, "As-sawmu junnah." As-sawmu junnah. Junnah means a shield or an armor to protect you. And in other words, for another hadith for the young people is telling them, فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصَّوْمِ. If somebody cannot afford the marriage, then he should fast. فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصَّوْمِ فَإِنَّهُ لَهُ وَجَاء. Wajaa means inhibitor for your desires. So the fasting has effects helping us to inhibit our desires and as a protection to protect us from mal or bad behavior. So this is the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us, telling us how to practice fasting so it will develop in us good human beings, the people that will be in line with the directions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to us. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our fasting, our qiyam, and substitute for our patience in this state of lockdown with rewards that He promised. إنما يوفى الصابرون أجرهم بغير حساب. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you all the support and the good deed that you are doing, trying to finish the Quran in the month of Ramadan and having a session every day, which is very good. And may Allah give a reward for you all and for those who are behind this good project during the month of Ramadan. جزاكم الله كل خير.
جزاك الله خير أستاذنا، بارك الله فيك وشكر الله لك. تفضل.
بارك الله فيك.
جزاك الله خير.
بارك الله فيك.
جزاك الله خير أستاذنا. بس إذا تحب تبقى معنا، إحنا راح نبدأ بالقرآن إن شاء الله. وصلنا إلى الجزء الخامس، صفحة 82، مصحف المدينة، والمحصنات من النساء. شيخنا تبدي أنت وجاء؟
ممكن أبقى معكم ربع ساعة لأن عندي حلقة الساعة 7.
جزاك الله ألف خير.
ربع ساعة إن شاء الله.
طيب جزاك الله خير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والمحصنات من النساء إلا ما ملكت أيمانكم كتاب الله عليكم، وأحل لكم ما وراء ذلكم أن تبتغوا بأموالكم محصنين غير مسافحين، فما استمتعتم به منهن فآتوهن أجورهن فريضة، ولا جناح عليكم فيما تراضيتم به من بعد الفريضة، إن الله كان عليما حكيما. ومن لم يستطع منكم طولا أن ينكح المحصنات المؤمنات فمما ملكت أيمانكم من فتياتكم المؤمنات، والله أعلم بإيمانكم، بعضكم من بعض، فانكحوهن بإذن أهلهن وآتوهن أجورهن بالمعروف محصنات غير مسافحات ولا متخذات أخدان، فإذا أحصن فإن أتين بفاحشة فعليهن نصف ما على المحصنات من العذاب، ذلك لمن خشي العنة منكم، وأن تصبروا خير لكم، والله غفور رحيم. يريد الله ليبين لكم ويهديكم سنن الذين من قبلكم ويتوب عليكم، والله عليم حكيم. تفضل إبراهيم.
جزاكم الله خير.
والله يريد أن يتوب عليكم ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما. يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض منكم، ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم إن الله كان بكم رحيما. ومن يفعل ذلك عدوانا وظلما فسوف نصليه نارا وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا. إن تجتنبوا كبائر ما تنهون عنه نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم وندخلكم مدخلا كريما ولا تتمنوا ما فضل الله به بعضكم على بعض للرجال نصيب مما اكتسبوا وللنساء نصيب مما اكتسبن واسألوا الله من فضله إن الله كان بكل شيء عليما ولكل جعلنا موالي مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون والذين عقدت أيمانكم فآتوهم نصيبهم إن الله كان على كل شيء شهيدا الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن في المضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعنكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا
جزاك الله خير.
الله كان عليا كبيرا.
جزاك الله خير. أخونا الشيخ إقبال.
أعوذ بالله. وإن خفتم شقاق بينهما فابعثوا حكما من أهله وحكما من أهلها إن يريدا إصلاحا يوفق الله بينهما إن الله كان عليما خبيرا واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا وبذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين والجار ذي القربى والجار الجنب والصاحب بالجنب وابن السبيل وما ملكت أيمانكم إن الله لا يحب من كان مختالا فخورا الذين يبخلون ويأمرون الناس بالبخل ويكتمون ما آتاهم الله من فضله وأعتدنا للكافرين عذابا مهينا والذين ينفقون أموالهم رياء الناس ولا يؤمنون بالله ولا باليوم الآخر ومن يكن الشيطان له قرينا فساء قرينا وماذا عليهم لو آمنوا بالله واليوم الآخر وأنفقوا مما رزقهم الله وكان الله بهم عليما إن الله لا يظلم مثقال ذرة وإن تك حسنة يضاعفها ويؤتي من لدنه أجرا عظيما فكيف إذا جئنا من كل أمة بشهيد وجئنا بك على هؤلاء شهيدا.
جزاك الله خير.
Dr. Saad, you want to carry on the page and then
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يومئذ يود الذين كفروا وعصوا الرسول لو تسوى بهم الأرض ولا يكتمون الله حديثا يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون ولا جنبا إلا عابري سبيل حتى حتى تغتسلوا وإن كنتم مرضى أو على سفر أو جاء أحد منكم من الغائط أو لامستم النساء فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا صعيدا طيبا فامسحوا بوجوهكم وأيديكم إن الله كان عفوا غفورا ألم تر إلى الذين أوتوا نصيبا من الكتاب يشترون الضلالة ويريدون أن تضلوا السبيل
جزاك الله خير.
أعلم بأعدائكم وكفى بالله وليا وكفى بالله نصيرا. جزاكم الله خير. صدق الله العظيم. إن شاء الله إلى بكرة تكملون إلى بداية الجزء السادس. لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم. إن شاء الله. حل الله. جزاك الله خير يا دكتور أحمد. نشوفك.
بارك الله فيكم.
هسه اسمع تفسير كلمات الله من أخونا محمد، دكتور محمد هاشم. تفضل معنا ايش قد ما يعجبك. تفضل دكتور محمد.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. علماء said Surah Al-Baqarah is probably the most difficult surah to understand, and if does anyone agree to that? They said what is the relationship, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about salah, about mawarith, and then about jihad, and then about munafiqeen, and then Yahud. So many subjects in the surah. It just runs from one subject to the other. So what is the link? What is the link between that? And what is the relationship between Surah An-Nisa and Surah Al Imran, and whatever is going to come after? Inshallah, we'll try to do some more understanding about that. Well, we said Surah Al-Baqarah is Surah Al-Iman. It's like the constitution, but there is no much practicality asked or tested. The test comes in Surah Al-Imran. So in Surah Al-Imran, we found two tests. One is Harb al-Shubuhat, the mental games that the West is exporting to our people, and they use some people inside us to manufacture this Shubuhat. And the second thing, as an example, was the Battle of Uhud. And this is what they call it Harb al-Sayf. So if you look at these two problems, they are external. They come from outside, or when you are defending your territory, it is outside. But what about the community itself? What the enemies of Islam are preparing to destroy our community, and how are we going to protect our communities? This is Surah An-Nisa. We love to say, of course, Surah An-Nisa is Surah Al-Adl, Surah Al-Adl. And probably we mentioned several times, and if you want to not to get confused about the aim of each surah, if you remember Surah Al-Asr, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا Surah Al-Baqarah, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, Al-Amal, and the practical things is Surah Al-Imran, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, Surah Al-Haqq here, Surah An-Nisa, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, which will come inshallah tomorrow, is Surah Al-Ma'idah. So the internal community, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we need to understand how the community was before Islam. The women were very oppressed. They will bury her. They can, if they marry a woman, they can or not, they can give her dowry, and they can take this dowry again. So they consider the woman as a possession. So they can take the woman and whatever she owe to their internal pocket. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us very differently. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving huge benefits and rights to the women. What they call them al-du'a al-judud, they love to stop at that, because this is very brilliant for women. You have all the rights, which is right, absolutely right, and more. but they don't. When you have your rights, you have to have duties as well. What are the duties of the women in Islam? They are the mothers, they are the daughters, they are the generation of heroes. We don't have heroes for long because there is something happening wrong. There's something wrong happening. Who is the cause of this wrong happenings to us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned so many about al-Yahud. What does al-Yahud usually do? They use some people of our own. They have the same names, and they have like Muhammad, Ibrahim, whatever, but they try to destroy the religion. They are munafiqeen. This is why you will find lots of talks about al-munafiqeen. So the people, the ulama say there is 5 things, al-Khumasiyya, 5 folds. Al-Yahud, they use al-munafiqeen to destroy the community from inside. But what do they use to destroy the community? They use an-nisa. So they destroy al-mar'a, and then they destroy the family, and then destroy the community. And now you come for al-jihad. Why jihad and qital? In one way, you can say it is to protect the weak people, but in another way, if the community is destroyed, forget about jihad or qital. Forget about it. There is no jihad or qital because the community is destroyed. So this is the 5 folds, which you'll find it in Surah An-Nisa, Surah Al-Ahzab, and Surah An-Nur. So this is how, because in some surah you found so many things. What is the relationship? What is the... Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala start with Nida, Ya Ayyuhan Nas. And I mentioned before several times, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is a hadith Qudsi, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create this al-ard wa sama' buniyata ala al-adl. Al-adl. So the fairness and and at-tawheed are the main cause for us subhanahu wa ta'ala is making this universe. And Allah, and so this is a universal act.
السلام عليكم. وفقك
الله يخليك، الله يوفقك ان شاء الله. شوفك الاثنين الجاي ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله ان شاء الله. الله يحفظك. جمال.
So the start of the surah Ya Ayyuhan Nas, but this is surah Madaniyah. You're expecting to have Ya Ayyuhal Mu'minun or Ya Ahl al-Kitab. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Ya Ayyuhan Nas because what is coming al-adl is a universal request. It is not for Muslims only. You will see in the surah al-adl with ma'a ad-du'afa. You will see al-adl with al-nisa, al-yatama, even al-sufaha. You will see al-adl with al-a'da in qissat Bashir ibn Ubayriq. وَلَا تَقْلِ لِلْخَائِنِينَ نَصِيرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have make a Jew innocent of stealing this dir'a. قصة الدرع المسروق. العدل على أنفسنا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to make al-adl, even our people. Al-adl في كل شيء. الشفاعة الحسنة والشفاعة السيئة. الشفاعة السيئة is الواسطة. When you have your son or whatever, is very famous in our schools of medicine. If you are a doctor, your son should be a doctor as well, and appointed in the university as a professor. And very, very famous stories. There was a very famous neurosurgeon, and his son was very bad in the first 3 years, and suddenly he scored very high, and he became a professor. And then they asked him, how come? He said, yes, at the age of 20, you have a special hormone or special place in your brain, suddenly become bright, and this is what happened to my son. So this is what one of the causes of destruction of our communities. Al-shafa'at al-sayyi'ah, al-wasta, all of that. All of these are being dealt within the surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if you go to ayah number 30, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, is extending the people who we should make adl and ihsan to 10 categories. وَلَا وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. This is number 2. وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى number 3. وَالْيَتَامَى number 4. وَالْمَسَاكِينَ number 5. وَالْجَارِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى number 6. وَالْجَارِ الْجُنُبِ وَالصَّاحِبِ بِالْجَنْبِ. You know what is a sahib bil-janb? Any friend, not friend, even a colleague. Your colleague at work, you should make ihsan and adl to him. Anyone who you meet at any place. وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ, Ibn Sabil, you don't know him, you should make adl to him. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ, the people that work for you, the servants. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ مَنْ كَانَ مُخْتَالًا فَخُورًا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is spreading عدل and إحسان وجزاكم الله خيرا للصبح.
جزاكم الله خير وأحسن إليك. أنا ما أدري شنو القصة اليوم. النت مالتي شغال بس